The current average home price here in Fort Collins, Colorado really is sitting about $675,000 more or less. But owning a home here involves more than just the purchase price. What makes Fort Collins financially appealing to so many people who relocate here really is what the full picture looks like once you actually experience it and actually understand it. Hey, what's going on everybody? I'm Brian McKinnon with Move Me to Colorado at Real. I am a local real estate agent right here in northern Colorado, and I do service cities just like Fort Collins, Colorado, and my team and I help buyers relocate here to northern Colorado from all across the country. Now, most of my clients are coming from higher cost or higher density areas, places like California, Texas, and places in states on the East Coast. So understanding the full picture outside of just the sales price of a home really is going to give you a much better sense of what it really costs to live here in Fort Collins. Now, the average home price here in Fort Collins is above $675,000 really at the time of filming this video. That reflects the Fort Collins housing market specifically. If you do move farther north towards Wellington, or you go southeast towards Severance or east towards Eaton, you really are going to see prices drop meaningfully compared to what you find inside Fort Collins city limits. Now, here in Fort Collins, demand does stay very strong because of job growth, Colorado State University, and because of the overall quality of life that you get here. There's also premium areas here like Old Town and the southwest side of the city that really do still carry some of the highest price points in the northern Colorado region. It is not uncommon to see home price averages well above $800,000 in those certain pockets. Buyers are paying for walkability, character, and proximity to everything. But that does not mean that affordable options do not exist for you here in Fort Collins. You can still find homes and townhomes and condos in the $300,000, $400,000 to $550,000 range if you expand your search radius. And towns like Windsor, Tinmouth, and Greeley are typically going to offer more attainable price points if that's what you're looking for. If you want to hear more about those communities and what they are actually like, make sure you check out the videos on this page. And again, please subscribe if you are getting value out here of what I put out in these videos. I do put out these videos every single week about what it really is like to live here in northern Colorado. Now, property taxes are one of the biggest long-term savings you are going to find here in Colorado compared to many other parts of the country. In Fort Collins, a good estimate for your annual property tax bill is really about 0.6 to 0.9% of your home's value. To put that in perspective, on a $675,000 home, most homeowners here are going to pay in the $3,400 to $4,400 range per year, again, depending on certain exemptions and where you are located. Colorado's statewide effective rate is low compared to much of the country as well. And if you are living in your home as your primary residence, you can qualify for a residential tax exemption that does help that number and keeps that number down. Now, if you are coming from Texas, where your property tax rates are much higher and they commonly run in the 2 to 3%, the difference on the same home can be really $10,000 to $15,000 per year. That's money in your pocket. We have lots of clients that move here from Texas who see their first property tax bill and they genuinely cannot believe it. It is one of those things that does make a real direct impact on your monthly out-of-pocket costs from the very first mortgage payment that you make. Now, there's one thing that is becoming very popular in northern Colorado that I really want to make sure that you know about before you buy a home, and it is especially if you are considering new construction. It is called a metro district, and it is probably the one thing that can catch a lot of people off guard when they move out here. I'm going to give you the simple version, so here is the simple version. When a developer builds a brand new neighborhood, somebody has to pay for all of the roads, the parks, the sewers, and the infrastructure that is within the subdivision that is also going to make it a real community. In Colorado, that cost often is going to get passed on nowadays to the homeowners who buy within that subdivision that has a metro taxing district. Again, this is through an additional property tax that gets tacked on every single year. In practice, that extra tax can push your annual property tax bill from around $4,400 on a $675,000 home all the way up to $6,500 or more. I have had clients do a double take when they see that number for the first time. The difference does show up in your monthly payment every single month, and it does not go away. Now, most of the established neighborhoods inside of Fort Collins do not have this. They might have an HOA, but if you are shopping new construction, especially on the northeast side of the city or in places like Tinmouth, Greeley, Windsor, or Loveland, there is a very real chance that you are looking at a house in a subdivision where there is a metro taxing district. So the question you want to ask, and your agent should already be asking this for you, is whether there is a cap on how high that additional tax can go. If there is a cap, there is a ceiling. If there is no cap, it can keep going up, and there is not much that you can do about it. It is one of the very first things we look at for every buyer that we work with. Now, HOA fees are another area that's worth understanding, and this is somewhere that Fort Collins tends to be pretty reasonable depending on your location and the neighborhood that you are in. For a standard single family home that was built after 1990, you are typically looking at somewhere between $1,000 and $1,400 per year. Again, it really depends on your HOA. That usually is going to cover common area maintenance, green space, irrigation systems, and sometimes it can cover neighborhood amenities like a pool or playground. It's not extreme. Now, I do hear from clients all the time who come from states like Florida, or they are coming from Arizona. They definitely have difficult HOA experiences with very controlling and high energy boards, unexpected assessments, rules that really feel unreasonable. And I personally do understand why those experiences would make someone hesitant to buy a home in an HOA, but that really is not what I see here in Fort Collins is the norm, especially experiencing the purchases with my clients. Something a lot of people do not realize is that if you buy a home built before 1990 here, there's also a very good chance that there is no HOA at all. Some of the most established and most charming neighborhoods in Fort Collins were built before HOAs really became the standard, and they give you complete flexibility. You can still find those options. You are just going to have fewer of them than you will in newer construction in newer built homes. Beyond the purchase price, you also need to factor in closing costs and ongoing ownership expenses. Now, buyers in Colorado, homeowners in Colorado, are typically going to spend around 2% to 3% of the purchase price on closing costs. That's going to cover things like lender fees, title insurance, recording fees, and prepay items. There might be other fees. Homeowners insurance here in Northern Colorado generally is going to run about 0.5% of your home's value annually. Again, it depends on the insurance company and the type of homeowners insurance that you get. But in general, on a $675,000 home, that is roughly $2,000 to $3,400 per year. Insurance premiums have been rising across the country, and Colorado definitely is not an exception, because wind and hail are legitimate factors here that carriers really have started pricing more aggressively in the last decade. One thing I want to make sure you are aware of when you are shopping for coverage really is the difference between a flat deductible and a percentage-based deductible for your insurance claims specifically. A 1% deductible on a $675,000 home means that you are covering the first $6,750 out of pocket before your insurance applies. That number really does catch people off guard if they have not read their policy carefully. My advice is do your due diligence and ask your insurance agent about it directly. Utilities are another part of the monthly budget that plays out a little differently here than in other climates. Summers in Fort Collins are warm, but our low humidity makes air conditioning much more manageable than what you would find in a humid climate. So an example would be if you're living in an average size home, like a 3-bed, 2-bathroom home, your electric bills during peak summer months commonly are going to run in the $100 to $200 range. In the milder months, many homeowners see that number drop to the $80 to $120 range. Of course, larger homes are going to run higher, and how much you use your utilities is going to matter. One thing generally worth knowing if you are a remote worker or you are relocating here from somewhere with limited broadband options, Fort Collins operates its own municipal broadband service, and that's called Connexion. For $70 per month, you get a full gigabyte of internet speed with the modem that is included. A lot of my clients who move here from other parts of the country really are surprised that a city the size of Fort Collins has built its own infrastructure. It really is excellent, and it is locally run. Now, here is something that is a little bit unique to Fort Collins that you are not going to find in most cost of living videos, but I promise you, if you move here, it is going to find its way into your budget. Fort Collins is widely considered to be one of the craft beer capitals of the country. New Belgium's, Odell's, Zwei Brewing are all headquartered right here in Fort Collins, and there are dozens and dozens and dozens more tap rooms and breweries throughout the city. The local culture genuinely revolves around them. People meet here after work. Families bring kids to the breweries on weekends. Neighbors walk over to a brewery on a Friday evening. It is not a bar scene the way you might think of it. It is more like a community gathering place or a social gathering place. Now, a pint at a local tap room right now is typically going to run $6 to $8. Most people who move here find that it really does become part of their regular routine, a social destination rather than going to a brewery for a special occasion. I get comments all the time from people who say they never really drank much craft beer before they moved here, And now they have a favorite local beer or local tap room that they know the brewer by name. It is one of those things that makes Fort Collins feel like Fort Collins. Just know going in that it really is probably going to be a line item on your budget. Now, one thing that sets Fort Collins apart from most cities, especially in northern Colorado, is its size and is the biking infrastructure. The city has over 280 miles of protected bike lanes and 45 miles of paved trail, and more are being added. It really is common here to find families that get by with one car, especially if they are close to Old Town or they are close to the Colorado State campus. That is not something most people expect before they actually visit here. That being said, most people here are still driving, and really, to be honest, you are going to need a car. So, gas prices in Colorado tend to run slightly, and I do mean just slightly, below the national average, which does help. One thing that does surprise a lot of people coming from other states is Colorado's vehicle registration costs. It is based on the assessed value of your car or of your vehicle. So a newer $60,000 truck can run $800 to $1,000 to register it annually. It does depreciate over time, but it is not zero. And it will catch you off guard if you are not expecting it. So when you put everything together, housing, property, taxes, insurance, utilities, transportation, those everyday, day-to-day expenses of living in Fort Collins really is a very comparable and compelling market, especially compared to many major metro areas that are across the country. The outdoor lifestyle that's offered, the schools, the safety, and the sense of community in a city that really is well run, those things are very real and they are very consistent. And if you're coming from a higher cost area, the financial picture can often land very much better than what you expect once you do understand your full picture and your full budget. So how does this compare to what you are currently spending wherever you live? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments right below this video. And if you are even considering a move to Fort Collins or anywhere in Colorado or northern Colorado, my team and I would absolutely love to help you navigate it. You can reach us through the link in the pinned comment that is directly below this video, and make sure you check out this video next, because I do think it is going to answer a lot of the questions that you still have. See you on the next video.